as far as a living, let me start with the evolution of my life real quick. I grew up in the ghetto, went to GMI from there, now Kettering University, studied mechanical engineering, realized that I was much more of a people person, and by my third year, I just wanted to crush my head in a vice. The cool thing about Kettering, if you're interested in engineering, is you do go to school for 3 months and then go to work for 3 months. So it's a very practical. It was awesome because I realized 3 years into it that I hated it, and if I had to do it for a living, I'd be miserable. So I switched gears. I left there, taught tennis professionally for a while, played tennis professionally for a while. Cool unknown fact, I was ranked 750 in the world for a while. Probably wouldn't ever guess that by my physique today, but pretty cool. Anyway, went back into technical world from there, worked at Verizon for a couple years in the cell phone world, and then I was recruited from there to help manage a Saturn dealership in Flint until Saturn was no more. And then I decided to go back into the technical world again. So I worked at AT&T in retail for a couple years, moved to the business side of things as an account manager, and today I am a network design engineer for AT&T. My kids like to joke about it. That I pretty much talk on the phone all day. It's pretty much all I do. Sometimes I go meet customers in person. I've had a couple different segments that I've supported. I supported larger businesses for a while as an account manager. Some of the companies like Reefer Peterbilt trucks, nothing like global, like I didn't support Ford or GM or anybody like that, but some pretty good sized customers. So anyway, today I think where I've spent the most of my career or the most fun is with network design engineer. So I don't have any degrees for that, no specialty training for that. I just kind of learned as I went. Interesting thing about the position I'm in today, I have been for a few years, it's kind of a jack of all trades. If you have a desire to learn, a knowledge to gain, if you're the type of person that, like there's kind of two people in the world, right? Somebody comes and brings questions and they're like, ooh, I don't know, let me go ask somebody else. And then somebody else, you bring them a question, they say, ooh, I don't know, let me go figure it out. If you're the I'm going to figure it out type of person, this would be a great job for you. Because the sellers, the actual salespeople, I support 3 salespeople today. I've supported up to 12 at any given time. Today I support 3 different in the public sector. So I support schools, libraries, local government, that type of thing today. The customer brings a question to the seller, and the seller doesn't know. So instead of trying to spend time and research it, they say, hey, Eric, how do we do this? And then I go figure it out and then bring it back to the customer. If the customers are looking for simple things, if they're looking for, so I do network design engineer, right? Like telecommunication stuff. Internet, I don't do internet like we think of it. Like the broadband service that you have at your house, I don't do that. Sellers can do that on their own, they don't need me. If a customer needs a dedicated internet connection, like an actual fiber connection pulled off the AT&T backbone to a customer, so it's never shared with anybody. You know how like you guys are, you use your internet and at like 4 o'clock, it gets worse. It gets slower, everybody else in the neighborhood's online. So we can sell you dedicated internet. That means we literally pull to Keegan's house, we pull a dedicated fiber connection, and here you go. You have 100 meg up, 100 meg down. It would be great, I wish I could afford it. At my house, because we're in the country too, and I have garbage internet. So those types of things are pretty simple. The sellers sell that stuff on their own. I get brought in if it's more complex. Anything that has the word cloud in front of it, if it's cloud voice, somebody's trying to take their phone infrastructure and they're trying to run multiple locations off the same phone system. Move that into the cloud, don't have to pay for expensive hardware anymore, let all of the software, it's called software-defined services, let the software run the phone system in the cloud, and then you just plug a phone into the internet wherever you need it to work. Bring those things to me and I help design them out. Anything multi-location. Customer has 3 or 4 locations and they need to communicate between each other, but it's highly sensitive information, so it can't traverse the public internet. They'll bring that to me. We'll carve out a section of AT&T's, it's called a layer 2 service. We'll carve out a section of AT&T's fiber network, and we'll let a customer connect our church to our house without ever passing over the public internet. Extra layers of security. Everybody probably hears about all the cybersecurity attacks that are going on today and every day. Those things are in my wheelhouse. That's what we do. If we're trying to design, some people just want to have a more resilient network. They want to have resilience and they want to have security. So we can help with those things. Some people are required to. There's some pretty cool stuff out there. U.S. government, if you want to have U.S. government patents for, so this was a really cool customer I helped. They designed turrets for tanks. So they have, they literally, like, they designed the turrets. So they have a government contract. In order to be able to have that government contract, they have to be DFARS compliant, which is super challenging. Like, nobody can do it on their own. So they bring a company, there's a couple companies that do it on their own, or they bring somebody like AT&T in and say, hey, here's my, I'm not kidding, like, here's my 480-page document that I have to get compliant to be able to get awarded this contract. Make it happen, and then I can tell them that you're doing it for me. So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Anything complex network design is what I do. I'm in the realm of a salesperson. My title isn't, but it is. I mean, I support sellers, therefore I sell. I will give my own little two-second snippet on being a salesperson. There's salespeople I think have a really bad reputation out there. A lot of them do. Really bad salespeople tend to be really bad. Doesn't mean they're not successful and they don't sell a lot of stuff. I don't look at salespeople as a salesperson. I look at them as a solution provider. So if somebody comes to me and says, man, I'm having these challenges at my business. Let me give you a couple of recent ones. HVAC company comes to me and says, after hours, almost every day, I get home and I forgot to call forward my phones. So all that after hours business that's super expensive to me, I have to drive back to the office, hit *72, put in the phone number where I want the numbers to forward after hours, and then drive back home again. Super inconvenient. Not only do I miss business, but it's just not it's a waste of my time. So we are able to implement a cloud-based phone system, so it automatically does that every day at 5 o'clock. They don't even have to think about it. At 5 o'clock, it automatically forwards, and we can put different rules. So maybe, Levi is after hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Kate is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it automatically forwards those calls where it's supposed to certain times. It's just convenience. You're not selling anything. You're resolving issues. So, what else would you guys like to hear about it? Any questions? Any thoughts? I did not, nope. And ironically, I could, because now AT&T pays for it. So if I did anything that was pertaining to what I actually do for a living, I 100% could for free. They do, yep. And there's a lot of cool entry-level jobs you can get into. A lot of people get into at AT&T. I used to run the Grand Blanc store in one of the Gales at about 35. She was kind of past being a mom. She was a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. She got a job there to make some extra money, but mostly so they'd pay for her school, and she's a teacher today. She got a degree in training, which teaching fell under that, and now she is a teacher at Grand Blanc High School. And AT&T paid for it. AT&T, I think I'm on my 13th year right now. So I did a couple years. There's a little evolution if you want to be where I am and not have a degree. We have a program. If you study like network design or cybersecurity, stuff like that, we have some programs where we kind of fast track people right out of college. So you can get here without having to spend 13 years. But I did a couple years in retail, a couple years supporting retail from business, and then account management. Those are kind of the steps that the company would like to see you have under your belt before you support a seller. It's a lot nicer to have somebody who has, already done your job supporting you because they understand what you're going through and the challenges that you're having. So. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yep. From my position, technical design engineer, there's a guy above me on the smart scale. He's a principal architect. He makes about double what I can make. Um, those guys are crazy smart. Um, there's a huge shortage of qualified, smart people. I was just talking, a buddy of mine left from AT&T and started his own business as a solution provider selling AT&T because he could make more doing it on his own. He was a super hard worker. We do have salary caps. They don't. So he is literally making millions of dollars a year, and he's just working as hard as he can. He's like, I'm going to give 5 years to it and make a ton of money. But he's proactively trying to hire people. There's a huge shortage. People have this stigma that as a salesperson, I need to be shady. Like, the people that are doing it good and doing it right, they're not. So you have to have an aptitude towards technology. Um, I would say anybody who likes technology, if it's something that you find it fun and you enjoy researching, just kind of for the fun of it, like I would say that's a dead ringer type person. People that really struggle at this job are people who have poor people skills. If you don't like talking to people, you'd probably be a miserable job. It is more about people skills. It's about being relatable. People like to buy stuff from people that they like. So just sitting down and having a meaningful conversation with somebody about their life, that will get you way further. If you can have that skill and have the technical knowledge behind it, the sky's the limit. You can make a ton of money and you can have a lot of fun doing it. I know everybody doesn't have the same dream that I do to have an office in their barn. I don't go to an office. My office is in the barn. Most of you guys have been there. What's it? It is a pretty cool office. but below is the barn where I do woodworking projects all day. So I can spend half my day on conference calls listening to customers while I'm building something, because I can. So it's a pretty fun gig. Money, most account managers make anywhere from 80 to 150,000. Once you move to the technical side of it, you're going to start closer to 120. I don't know, 225. You would cap out in my position. The principal architects, they're gonna start at 200. Usually cap out in the 250 range. So you can make some pretty decent money, have a lot of fun. No day for me is ever the same. Every solution, every challenge that comes across is different, and some of it is maybe I'm proposing the same product, but it's being used in a different application. I've got some pretty cool stories of some pretty cool projects that I helped with. Most of them I can't talk about on video. I had to sign non-disclosure agreements, but we can talk in more vague terms afterwards if you guys think it's cool. But like for instance, if anybody here has seen Captain America, you know the scene where they walk into like this old abandoned building downtown, and then down below it is like this crazy super soldier place. Like those are real. There's a couple of those in Michigan. They look like abandoned buildings on the outside, but they've got 10 gig pipes run to them, and they're moving crazy serious data, and you won't get past the entry area. if you're not already FBI approved, you're stopping at the gate. So there's some pretty cool stuff out there that we get to help with. So any other questions, ladies? I feel like I'm over here talking to these guys. What's that? I do, but not that I can share with you. You would never guess them. You drive by it, and it just looks like a regular place. Yep. I would say if you're interested in this career, and that's something that's interesting to you, make sure you keep your nose clean, because if you can't pass the FBI background check, you don't get to do it. So, I'm looking at you, Keegan. What else? Any other questions? There's a huge shortage, a giant demand for women in this field. If you have an aptitude for it and you think it's fun, I'd love to talk to you further afterwards. Anything else?
So are you guys, like, do you kind of start out with this, are there any, like, intern kind of situations? So it's like, I want to, start out as an intern and then work my way through like that, or is it?
So yes and no. We have an intern program, but it's post-college. So if that's something you're interested in doing, you would need to go get some type of network design. They're not even challenging. It wouldn't even necessarily have to be a bachelor's. I mean, you could do an associate's in network design from Mott, and then go move into our business leadership program, which is like another one-year program at AT&T, where they train you specifically on AT&T things. AT&T is super challenging, and everybody thinks like, old mobile phones, internet, stuff like that. We literally have millions of products, absolutely anything you can think of. So I helped a company in Traverse City. We had this conversation with them, and like they wanted nothing. They were like totally shut down. They were like didn't want to talk at all. Like it was one of those meetings that was like, everybody's just like, how do we make this end? Nobody wants to be here. So I asked the guy, I'm like, hey man, like, all right, so let's back up a second. Like, what keeps you up at night? Like, what would change your business? How could we help you? And he's like, well, unless you can guarantee a way that customers are going to call me for refrigeration repair issues instead of potentially calling a competitor, he's like, I have a super triple redundant phone system. So if somebody calls in, it gets answered every single time, because as soon as that goes to a voicemail and somebody leaves a voicemail, they're immediately calling the next company. These, commercial refrigeration, I'm going to pick on Keegan for a minute because he lives in this world, but commercial refrigeration, like how much money does it cost you if one of those freezers go down? It's not the freezer, right? It's the contents. It's all the meat, it's all the produce, whatever it is that you have stored in those refrigeration units. So he's like, unless you can come up with a way that I'm guaranteed to have those people come back to me, I'm kind of done. And I'm like, all right, we can do that. And he's like, what do you mean? So we reached out to our IoT, Internet of Things division, and we designed and deployed for about 1,500 refrigeration units, these little sensors that go inside. And if it drops below operation temperature, or goes above an operation temperature, then he has a dashboard at his office that gets notified. He gets a phone call, a text, an email, like all sorts of communications, as well as the customer saying your refrigeration unit is out of compliance. And he is now the point of contact. We talked about it a couple of different models. I'm like, you could roll it out as like a $5 a month service for customers. He's like, I don't even want that. He's like, I'll pay the $5 a month and know that every one of these customers come back to me. I'm going to offer it as a free service to my customers. You have me come in and do a repair. Hey, do you want to make sure this never happens again? And if there is an issue, I am there within 30 minutes. Like, I will get it fixed and you will not lose the contents of your freezer. Absolutely, yes. You're going to do that for me for free? Please do that. So we literally changed his business. This guy, I mean, it was one of the few hugs I've gotten from a grown man I don't know. He was so excited, and it kind of changed their life. So, it's not really selling. It's everything. You think of bus. We're doing some really cool stuff in Cleveland right now. I was just there a couple weeks ago to meet with Regional Transit Authority in Cleveland. All of their buses are becoming smart buses. So you can monitor exactly where the buses are. They can keep track of ambient temperatures in the bus. They're providing free Wi-Fi to people in the buses. All their train, tram, underground stuff. It's all becoming a smart device and smart machine. So they have more insight into what's happening, but the end user can log into a portal and see those types of things as well. Are there issues? Are there timing delays? Am I going to get there on time? Being able to track their kids' school buses is a big one that they're rolling out in Cleveland as well that we're doing. So it's pretty cool stuff. The principal architects deal with more cutting edge stuff that AT&T doesn't really want us to sell, but it's futuristic. You've got to be really smart with those things because you're selling against your own company who says, no, this isn't profitable, we don't want to do it. And you say, I get it, it's not profitable today, but it's going to be in 10 years. This is the evolution of what we're doing, and it will cost us money for 10 years to get there. But in 10 years, it will be profitable. So, pretty cool stuff.
So those freezer sensors you were talking about, were those designed uniquely for that client?
Mm-hmm.
So you said you got some of the specific design and roll those out.
Yep.
Just for that client.
Yep. And then it won't go to just that client.
Yeah.
I mean, our IoT team that does that will then roll it out to other companies. We did another one with airplanes that was really cool, designed mostly for like doctors, lawyers, wealthy people, that time is more important than anything. So interesting fact in Michigan. How are we doing? I think I'm out of time. All right, I'm gonna make this really quick. Do I have to stop? Okay, so super cool, super fun story here. Private airplanes in Michigan take about an hour to warm up the oil systems in it before somebody can fly in Michigan. So I go to my airplane, my private airplane in my hangar, and I have to plug in, you can't, the FDA, whoever, Federal Aviation, they don't allow you to install anything permanent on a airplane that didn't already come with the airplane. So there's some pretty strict laws about that. So a customer comes to me and he says, hey, I don't want to have to wait. I don't want to have to go wrap my airplane with this heater and plug it in and wait an hour for it to warm up my oil so I can start my plane before I fly in Michigan in winter. I want to just go. So our IoT team designed this box that sits outside, and when they're done flying, they park their airplane in their hangar and they pre-wrap it with their thing like they normally would. And then when they want to go, they log into their portal and they turn that on in advance. So like not complex, but like for somebody that an hour is a really big deal in their life, like they were happy to pay $40 a month to, all right, it's like another phone. Like I'm gonna pay $40 a month and I don't have to wait an hour when I wanna go fly my personal airplane. You roll it out to a company who decided they wanted to mass produce that and sell it to other people, and we're the backbone that makes it happen. Just fun stuff. All right, I think we're out of time. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up afterwards. Happy to answer anything we got. Yeah, absolutely.